there are no Class A motorhome parks, RV parks in San Felipe. Okay, so if we build a first-class RV park with 50 and 30 amp service, and where we've got, not just a lot of them will be pull-throughs, and we'll put pads there so that they've got sitting areas, and a lot of course, the more expensive RVs now in the motorhomes, most of them have roll-out awnings, so they'll have some shaded area. So we do have plans for that product. Basically, it was a great product. The roads were terrible back then, and that's the reason we finally gave the RV park up and converted it to condos, because a lot of people told me they wouldn't bring a Class A motorhome down to San Felipe any longer. The highway was so bad that they just wouldn't do it, and they wouldn't bring a tow car with them either. But that is in the plans to bring, for us to build a new RV park, for sure.
Sorry to come up again, but the other questions led to an additional one. And the intent obviously is not to slow down any potential investors. We all want that. But I'd like to put my 2 cents worth in on the cookie cutter homes and or pre-manufactured homes and so forth that I, for one, love the most, and that there aren't duplicate homes out there, or very, very few. And I would guess many people who bought in for that reason. We're all used to the developments in the States, one house after another. And they'll have 4 or 5 different models with the slightly different fascias and so forth. But you can tell it's a development. And I personally would like to see that. And I know the current CC&Rs don't allow, totally manufactured or pre-manufactured homes. So I'd like that to stay in there. But certainly if that were required to get an investor, at least it should be in maybe a separate area like you have now for, electric and mixed use and solar and so forth, that there be a separate area for pre-manufactured homes and or, cookie cutter type homes. To say I would be unhappy if that started happening here at the ranch. One more point on the previous show with how things look. It's been a real irritation to me every day when I go to the post office, and sadly I need to go every day because I've got this buy-in thing now since COVID. So every day there's a new package. But I pass by the new sales office on the right, and there's a sign that's been laying there in the dirt for months. It's a big sign, and it's it says Mexicali one way and San Felipe the other way. It's a road sign. So I bring that up to somebody and they say, oh, well, that's a government thing, we can't touch it. This thing it's within, it's 150 feet in after you make the turn. And it looks like maybe somebody backed into it or something and just knocked it down. And you can't tell me that in the middle of the night you can't have a couple guys go out and lift the thing up, and that the federales are going to get after you the next day for lifting the sign up. It's the first thing a prospective buyer sees if they go to the sales office. And if that were me, I'd say, Jesus Christ, if they can't even lift up a sign, how are they going to maintain my investment? So I highly urge and recommend you lift up that sign or put it wherever it belongs, because it's an eyesore. And there's several of those simple, correctable sort of things around the ranch that need to be done. Thank you.
Okay, so Ross, on the last point, does any of you have suggestions like that? My right hand and left hand, Doreen, she's very good about responding to questions, and we can redirect stuff. So I would just invite any of you with suggestions like that to send them to us. Like the one you just mentioned, Ross, Jesus made a note, and he will talk to government officials about getting the sign back up. And on the cookie cutter homes, you guys all know that all of our roads wind around, and we don't do block and tackle work. And the community does look, it's all individual designs that you guys have done. These homes will have a number of different faces to them, and we will not put the same model next to each other. So they'll be spread out with different facades, different faces to them. I don't think it will look like, we'll build the model home village, and then you guys can look at it and see what you think about it. We have right up here a couple of these tri-D panel homes. They're made by Blockmex in Mexicali, and they're styrofoam reinforced with steel. So they're very solid, and they really don't look like they're manufactured housing. I mean, manufactured housing that I think of is kind of like the 5 or 6 homes that I bought from Fleetwood that used to be down by the Palapa pool that we used as rentals. These will not look anything really like manufactured housing. But I know what you mean, because when I even go to Vegas to see the 2 kids we have living there, all the housing in Vegas now is all block and tackle work, and some of my kids live in those subdivisions because that's